Hi everyone, my name is Yaida Ford. I'm an attorney licensed in the District of Columbia, and I'm going to give you some updates on the District of Columbia's emergency legislation as it pertains to evictions. It's pretty important. There have been, the lights just went off. Let there be light. Let there be lights. There we go. The district just passed emergency legislation, and there have been some changes. So there's a lot of misinformation circulating about what landlords can do, what tenants' rights are, etc. So just want to give you guys some updates because October 12th, 2021 has been the date that is circulating about when evictions can begin, but it's not straightforward and there are a lot of nuances. So I want to educate you all. I'm going to be reading a couple of points that I put together here on my tablet. So follow along, and if you want more information about this, I'll give you some information at the end as to where to get some additional resources. So first question, when can landlords begin evicting tenants through legal proceedings in the District of Columbia? Well, there is a moratorium in place, as you all know, but on October 12th, 2021, it doesn't technically end, okay? The amended COVID-19 emergency legislation passed by the council states that landlords can begin sending notices for non-payment of rent immediately after the bill goes into effect and may begin filing for evictions on October 12th. However, they can only do it in cases where the tenant owes at least $600 in rent, where the landlord has applied for relief on behalf of the tenant through an existing DC rental relief program, and where the tenant has been given a 60-day past due rent notice. Okay, so you can't just go filing without meeting these stipulations. All right. Now, landlords may begin sending notices for non-monetary tenant defaults on September 26th. But notices of eviction may not be submitted until January 1st, 2022 for non-monetary tenant defaults, okay? Through this phase-out plan, and that's what it is, it's a phase-out plan, all evictions will ultimately be allowed by February 22nd, 2022. At least that's for now. The DC Council could come back and amend the emergency legislation, which would make it extend even longer. Okay, now let's talk about what tenant protections are in place under the emergency legislation. Okay, the law provides tenants with certain new housing protections, including for those tenants who've applied for assistance within the 60-day past due period. They can raise a legal defense against eviction while their application is pending. So landlords, you should know that if there is an application for stay DC that's in place, any eviction action that you file will ultimately be dismissed, because if the tenant can proffer, proof that they filed this application and it's in place, then your case is going to get dismissed. Number two, for tenants who've been denied rental assistance, if there's a rent payment plan in place that will avoid eviction proceedings, then they can proffer that as evidence too, case dismissed. All right, number three, for all tenants citywide, a prohibition on rent increases through the end of 2021. So landlords, you must understand that you cannot raise the rent until after December 31st, 2021. Okay, now there's an additional provision, okay, in the law that requires landlords to provide clear, plain language notices when giving notices of past due rent, including specifying how much rent is owed, that the tenant has a right to remain in a rental unit while on a repayment plan, and contact information for stay DC. So your notices now, prior to the emergency legislation, you obviously had to state how much rent was owed, but now you have to include language about as to whether the tenant's on a rental repayment plan, and you have to include information about stay DC, so your notices have to change. My legal advice to landlords and tenants is to make sure you contact legal counsel so you can avoid violating the law, understand what your rights and responsibilities are. For more information about this legislation, please go to my website, www.fordlawpros.com. www.fordlawpros.com. Thank you.